Bolo bolo bolo. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Also, Shri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning class. This morning, the class will be on Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi-Lila, chapter 2, verses 3 to 5. We'll be covering 3 verses this morning. And the chapter is entitled, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The class will be given by Pariksit Prabhu from ISKCON ISKCON Harrisburg. Until then, we'll without further delay, we'll just jump right into the class. Thank you. Haribol. You on mute.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Tila Prabhupada Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivajikacharya Astottara Sata Sishimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajikacharya Astottara Sata Sishimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Nama Charge Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Charge Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivachari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Gauranga Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Shavadi Bhakti Teta Swami Tinam. Namaste Krishna Vidaya Prabhupada Siddhartha Nishti Gaura Krishna Shakti Bhakti. Narayana Namaskricha Narunchayava Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashta Prayeswa Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhakta Uttama Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Good morning, devotees. Hare Krishna. So, this morning, as was announced earlier, we're going to be having a class based on the Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi-Lila, Chapter 2, Text 3, 4, and 5. So, Adi-Lila Chapter 2, Text 3 is now on there. I'll start with that one. Chanted 3 times. It's actually a popular one. If you look at it, you've probably heard of it before, or many times you've heard of it, depending how long you've been in ISKCON. So this is the text, and the popular tune for the text is what I'm going to use to sing that particular text. Okay. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Anyone else that wants to chant can do that?
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Anyone else?
Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Hare Krishna. Okay. So we'll do word for word. Jaya Jaya, all glory. Sri Caitanya, to Lord Caitanya. Jaya, all glory. Nityananda, to Lord Nityananda. Jaya, all glory. Advaita Chandra, to Advaita Acharya. Jaya, all glory. Gaura Bhaktavinda, to the devotees of Lord Gauranga. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Sri Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra and all glories to the devotees of Lord Gauranga. Jai. Oma Ginati Mirandesa, Gyana Gyana Shalakaya, Chakshu Umalitam Gena Tasman Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padatikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Vita Padakamalam, Shri Guru Vaishnavam Scha. Shri Rupa Sagajatam, Sahagana, Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam. Sadvaitam Sabadutam, Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Shri Radha Krishna Pada, Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Dr. Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu Suteri Vipanamami Hari Priya. Vanchakapatarubhishta Kripasundhi Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine. Nirveshesha Sunya Bhari Paschatya Dishitarine. Mo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurachashe Namaha. Adi-Lila Maya Vigrahaya Gamadhya Digachata Sundaraya. Tasmi Mahaprema Raspadaya Caitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Caitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Caitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Caitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhaktivinoda. All glories to Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Sri Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to the devotees of Lord Gauranga, including Srivas and Gadadhar. Those are the ones that make up the Pancha Tattva, 5 features of the Lord in all truth. So, this is a very, very important shloka in the Sri Chaitanya Caritamrta, the beginning Lila, the Adi-Lila. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namo Mahabharanyaya, is the most merciful incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes we say incarnation, but actually in the deeper meaning of it is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna combined. And Krishna is the sum total of all the expansions of the Lord. Ete tam shakala pumsam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So the portions, there are portions of the Lord, and then there are portions of the portions, but Krishna is the sum total. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, as Lord Brahma says in Brahma Samhita. So the Lord deserves all glories. The greatest glories that anybody could wish on anyone should be wished on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, Rupa Goswami tells us, always think of Krishna. Never forget Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, that's the Krishna in his merciful form, in the mood of Radharani, Srimati Radharani, the mother of devotion, to show us what bhakti, real bhakti, is about. The Lord taught in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Battle of Kurukshetra, spoke to Arjuna. Then the Lord showed what it is like to be a devotee by coming in disguise but many people didn't even know that he was the Lord himself, a great devotee of the Lord. Krishna Bhana Tusa Krishna, Lord Caitanya is the Lord himself, come as a devotee, preaching the glories and connecting with Krishna to show us how it's done. All glories to Sri Nityananda. His appearance was this, 2 days ago. We celebrated his appearance. Lord Nityananda, a most merciful form. Nityananda is Balaram. And in Krishna Balaram Lila, when the demons messed with him, he would literally take their lives. Beat them up and kill them. The same came in a merciful form and even allowed the demon to hit him, literally hurt him, and he didn't retaliate. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda are very, very merciful. Krishna and Balaram in the most merciful form. All glories to Advaita, Mahavishnu, that has come also in this Gora Lila. He was the one that asked for Lord Caitanya to come. Now, he himself would have helped all of the fallen souls, but he asked the Lord to come. Lord Caitanya, Krishna himself, to descend in this Kali Yuga. And all the devotees, Gadadhar, Srivas, who all contributed to the wonderful pastimes of Lord Caitanya in this world, in Navadvip, and then to the rest of the world, the rest of India when he traveled after his initiation by Ishwara Puri. So there's glories, all glories to the devotees of Lord Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada said that when a devotee chants Gauranga, 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 Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, that devotee will not see, no matter what's happened, will not see a hellish planet. Because the Lord Gauranga's name prevents a person, a devotee, from going, that has even done things that literally deserves punishment in some of the special hellish planets that have to kind of reform devotees. Even that, they can be saved from. So the name of Lord Gauranga is very powerful. Of course, we're reading from Caitanya Caritamrta, the glories, the Lila of Lord Gauranga. Can you forward to the next one? Adi-Lila, chapter 2, text 4. Okay. So chapter 2, text 4 is a transitional type shloka. So we will do the transition as is here, and then we will go to the next shloka. So this one I'll just read. Tritiya shlokera artakari vivaran vastuni desha rupa mangala charanam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Let me describe the meaning of the third verse of the first 14. It is an auspicious vibration that describes the absolute truth. So he goes into the meaning of the first, the third, the one before. Because we're in Sloka 4 now. When it says the third verse, it means the previous verse. So the previous verse is taken into the deep description by the next one that comes. So now Adi-Lila, chapter 2, text 5. You can go to that one. Okay. So text 5. Yadvitam Brahmopanishadi Tarapyasa Tanubha Yad Atmantar Yami Purusha Etiso Shama Vibhava Sad Aishwara Purno Ya Iha Bhagavan Saswaim Ayam Nachetanyat Krishna Dagati Paratatvam Param Iha. So the translation of that is What the Upanishads described as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body. And the Lord, known as the Supersoul, is but his localized plenary portion. Lord Caitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. He is absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The compilers of the Upanishads speak very highly of the impersonal Brahman. The Upanishads, which are considered the most elevated portion of the Vedic literatures, are meant for persons who desire to get free from material association and who therefore approach a bona fide spiritual master. So that's what the Vedic, the Upanishads are meant for. It's very important. People approach the bona fide spiritual master for enlightenment. The prefix upa indicates that one must receive knowledge about the absolute truth from the spiritual master. One who has faith in his spiritual master, actually receives transcendental instruction. And as his attachment for material life slackens, and he's able to advance on the spiritual path. Knowledge of the transcendental science of the Upanishads can free one from the entanglement of existence in the material world. And when thus liberated, one can be elevated to the spiritual kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by advancement in spiritual life. The beginning of spiritual enlightenment is realization of the impersonal Brahman. Such realization is effected by gradual negation of material variegatedness. Impersonal Brahman realization is the partial, distant experience of the absolute truth that one achieves through the rational approach. It is compared to once seeing a hill from a distance and taking it to be a smoky cloud. A hill is not a smoky cloud, but it appears to be one from a distance because of our imperfect vision. In imperfect or smoky realization of the absolute truth, spiritual variegatedness is conspicuous by its absence. This experience is therefore called Advaitavada, or realization of oneness, of the oneness of the absolute. The impersonal glowing effulgence of Brahman consists only of the personal bodily rays of the Supreme Godhead, Sri Krishna. Since Sri Gaurasunda, or Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, is identical with Sri Krishna himself, the Brahman effulgence consists of the rays of his transcendental body. Similarly, the Supersoul, which is called the Paramatma, is a plenary representation of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. The Antaryami, the Supersoul in everyone's heart, is the controller of all living entities. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, wherein the Lord Krishna says, Sarvasya Chaham Hiri Shanivishta. I am situated in everyone's heart. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 29, also says, Bhoktaram Yagyata Pasa Savaloka Mahesha, indicating that the Supreme Lord, acting in his expansion as a supersoul, is the proprietor of everything. Similarly, Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, shloka 35 states, Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam. The Lord is present everywhere, within the heart of every living entity, and within each and every atom as well. Thus, by his supersoul feature, the Lord is all-pervading. Furthermore, Lord Caitanya is also the master of all wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, because he is Sri Krishna himself. He is described as Purna, or complete. In the feature of Lord Caitanya, the Lord is an ideal renouncer, just as Sri Ram was an ideal king. Lord Caitanya accepted the order of sannyas and exemplified exceedingly wonderful principles in his own life. No one can compare to him in the order of sannyas. Although in Kali Yuga, acceptance of the sannyas order is generally forbidden, Lord Caitanya accepted it because he is complete in renunciation. Others cannot imitate him, but can only follow in his footsteps as far as possible. Those who are unfit for this order of life are strictly forbidden by the injunctions of the Shastra to accept it. Lord Caitanya, however, is complete in renunciation as well as other opulences. He is therefore the highest principle of the absolute truth. By an analytical study of the truth of Lord Caitanya, one will find that he is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. No one is greater than or even equal to him. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, shloka 7, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Mata parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Thus, it is here confirmed that there is no higher truth than Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. The impersonal Brahman is the goal of those who cultivate the study of books of transcendental knowledge. And the Supersoul is the goal of those who perform the yoga practices. One who knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead surpasses realization of both Brahman and Paramatma, because Bhagavan is the ultimate platform of absolute knowledge. The personality of Godhead is the complete form of Satchidananda, full knowledge and bliss. By realization of the Sat portion of the complete whole, unlimited existence, one realizes the impersonal Brahman aspect of the Lord. By realization of the Chit portion of the complete whole, unlimited knowledge, one can realize the localized aspect of the Lord, the Paramatma. But neither of these partial realizations of the complete whole can help one realize Ananda or complete bliss. Without such realization of Ananda, knowledge of the absolute truth is incomplete. This verse of Chaitanya Caritamrta by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is confirmed by a parallel statement in the Tattva Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami. In the 8th part of the Tattva Sandarbha, it is said that the absolute truth is sometimes approached as impersonal Brahman, which although spiritual, is only a partial representation of the absolute truth, Narayan. Narayan, the predominant deity in Vaikuntha, is to be known as an expansion of Sri Krishna. But Sri Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, the object of the transcendental love of all living entities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada's purport opens up a great description of Krishna and the identity and the fact of the identical notion here that we need to understand. Krishna is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this text, the translation is, what the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body. And the Lord is known as Supersoul. The Lord known as a Supersoul is his localized plenary portion. Lord Caitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with the 6 opulences. So Lord Caitanya is Bhagavan. The Upanishads describe the Lord impersonal Brahman, as is stated here, the effulgence of the Lord. The effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is brilliant, very brilliant. We don't even compare it to the sun. No, the reflection, the sun that we have here is a reflection of the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And look how much light, for this small universe here, how much light it puts out. It's not even easy for our eyes to look directly at the sun. And that's just a reflection. So one can only imagine the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is spiritual, totally spiritual. And so the Upanishads describe that the Lord as Super Soul is the localized plenary portion, which is in every atom and also in the heart of every living entity. So that's the plenary portion, as Papa describes, that they're not the complete portion, but the complete is totally Lord Caitanya or Krishna himself, with the opulences, Bhagavan, possessing the 6 opulences of full strength, full fame, full wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. It also means that what we have here are just small portions of the fullness of Krishna. Everybody, whatever their strength level is by just a minute portion of the full strength of the Lord. Nobody is more famous than God. Whatever thing a person has done to acquire, and therefore people taking notice of that person so that he's become famous, no one can become as famous as the Lord. And whatever thing that made that person famous, where did he get it from? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he doesn't supply, you can't have. If he became famous as the person that made the first spaceship, all right, person who designed it, so he can be famous. But who gave them the intelligence to do that? Krishna. From me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. It's from the Lord. So whatever anybody does here, or on any planet in the material world, that makes them famous, whatever that is actually a spark, just a small spark of the splendor of the Lord. So we can't even claim fame, we can't even claim strength, we can't even claim wealth, we can't even claim knowledge, we can't even claim beauty, none of that on our own. We are all 100% dependent on what the Lord puts out. So he's a source of all of these. That's why nobody is at the level of the Lord, and nobody can ever be at the level of the Lord. He's the absolute truth, and no one is greater than or equal to him. At the same time, by his mercy and on his own will, wanting to enjoy pastimes, he came as Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu to taste the sweetness of the devotion of Srimati Radharani. And at the same time, show us what it is like to be a devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord. So, an important point here is made by Srila Prabhupada in this very first few sentences in the purport. The Upanishads are considered the most elevated portion of the Vedic literatures. They are meant for persons who desire to get free from material association and who therefore approach a bona fide spiritual master from enlightenment. So the point here Srila Prabhupada is making is, if we desire to be happy, we desire to get away from material association, that's what makes us happy. If we go to the spiritual, mind, body, soul, to the spiritual, then we'll be happy. But how do we know what to do spiritually? We have to approach a bona fide spiritual master and get enlightenment for what is right and what is wrong. So Upanishad, Upa, the prefix, Prabhupada is saying, it indicates that one must receive knowledge about the absolute truth from a spiritual master. Why? Spiritual master is endowed with the truth. Spiritual mastership is put together, originated by Krishna himself. He says to come see him, go to the spiritual master. And he is so keen on that, that even when he came as Krishna, he took a spiritual master. Balaram, spiritual master. Sandipani Muni. Lord Caitanya, spiritual master. He also got spiritual master, initiation from a spiritual master, Ishwarapuri. Even though Ishwarapuri was well aware that the Lord Chaitanya, was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, And when the Lord came to him for initiation, he questioned the Lord and says, but I'm your devotee. And you will get initiation from me to be a spiritual master. Lord Caitanya still insisted. And when Ishwara Puri explained his point further, that he would like to remain a humble servant of Lord Caitanya, Lord Caitanya said, but I have a mission. I have a mission to show devotees what it is like, what bhakti is about. And it involves having to get initiation, take a guru. Therefore, you play the role of my guru. Even though you understand I'm supreme personality of Godhead and you're really my devotee, play that role of initiating so that I can show to the rest of the world, because he came now to show what devotion was about. Show to the rest of the world the importance of having to have a guru and having to have enlightenment and to serve the guru menially. The Lord cooked. Lord Caitanya cooked for Ishwara Puri and served Ishwara Puri to show us what it is like and what we have to do as devotees in relating to the spiritual master. So, here Papa says, when we take spiritual life seriously through the instructions, the transcendental instructions of the spiritual master, when we take it seriously, what happens is our attachment for material life becomes to move away slowly. We get less and less and less interested in material activity that we can get rid of, that we don't have to live with, leaving only the ones that are necessary. Now, it does not mean that it just happens overnight. It's a gradual process. And it involves having to get help from devotees who are fixed up. It involves taking the spiritual master's instructions seriously. Srila Prabhupada has already said that here. But to be around devotees who will then remind us of the life that we're supposed to lead, that's extremely important. One cannot be successful in spiritual life without sadhusanga, association of devotees. That's why in the very first one, chapter 2, text 3 of Adi-Lila, all glories to Lord Caitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, and then in the end, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, all glories to the devotees of the Lord. Because the devotees are assistants in helping us to grow to the point where material life does not become important to us anymore, and now spiritual life is most important. So we gravitate towards doing the things that are spiritual. We gravitate towards spiritual in terms of devotional service. We start by devotional service in instructions, through instructions given by the spiritual master. But then it grows on us as we take the chanting seriously. And we take the chanting on Hare Krishna Maha Mantra seriously. That means we take it, when we're chanting, we chant with attention. When we chant with good emotions, and we chant understanding that that is the most important thing to do in this particular life in Kali Yuga, because as a Yuga Dharma, the Lord has said you do that. And Lord Caitanya, he came to show that through Kirtan. So we do japa, chanting, and we also sing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and Kirtan and Bhajans. So knowing the transcendental science of the Upanishad, Srila Prabhupada says, can free one from the entanglement of existence in the material world. And when thus liberated, one can be elevated to the spiritual kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by advancement in spiritual life. How we can get back to this, to Godhead involves having to disconnect from things about material life, to disconnect. So material life should not please us. Material life should be seen as something that's necessary because we are in this body and we have to keep the body going. So Prabhupada says we have to live as long as possible in serving, serving at the same time, be in this body as long as possible and serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead's devotees, Guru and Krishna. But we also have to understand that we're not these bodies. That's the knowledge of Brahman. We are spirit. And the life is to be directed more towards spirituality and only as necessary towards material activity. So the beginning of spiritual enlightenment is the realization of the impersonal Brahman, as in Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 11. Vadantita tatsvavidas tatspanyat jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdyate. Those who know, learned transcendentalists, they call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Srila Prabhupada describes the three stages of realization: the preliminary realization, Brahman, like seeing a hill from a distance. He's also used mountain, pretty much the same thing. Like hazy, smoky cloud. A hill is not a smoky cloud, but it appears to be from a distance, from far away. Those of us that are in the country have had that experience before. Sometimes, you're going up and it's, I don't know, these towns won't make much sense to those who are not in this area, but there's a place where the main campus of Pennsylvania State University is. It's called State College. And from Gitanagri, if you're going there, you have to go up a place called the Seven Mountains. You literally go up the hill through a mountain. And early in the morning, when you look on the right side, you won't see anything but clouds, even though the mountains are there. So from a distance, you see clouds. It's very, very hazy. It's like foggy. And so unless you've seen it in the afternoon, you know it's there. A new person going there would think that, oh, this, it's more clouds that's formed here. That's all. I'm just going up a hill. On my right side, I can see clouds. No, they are the mountains. It's called Seven Mountains. And there are 7 of them. That's why they get that name. Now, if the clouds clear, say the sun comes up, now you can see something. Again, if you didn't know the mountains, you would just see a lot of greenery. Because the trees are obviously from that distance, they look compact and together. That is the realization, the analogy of the Lord in the heart, the Paramatma, the next level of realization. But then, as Srila Prabhupada says, when a person gets closer to the mountain, then you see there's so many things that's there. The trees now will be seen in their reality, not just the green color haze covering an area, but you see the trees itself. Therefore, if you come closer, you will hear the birds on the trees. You will see some nests when you get really, really close. And some people like to build their houses at the bottom of the mountain. That you might see some houses there. So the variety then will be shown. The Lord in his greatest variety, and the Lord in the position where we can relate to is Bhagavan. And that's why Krishna says, and that's why the spiritual master teaches us, Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam, the Lord full of all the 6 great opulences and subsets from those. So his fame, the beauty, the renunciation, wealth, so all of that is there. Knowledge. By the way, in the renunciation potency of the Lord, Papa was describing when the Lord shows renunciation, which so sometimes the Lord is renounced. Well, then he has strength, and he has fame, and he has wealth, and he has knowledge, and he has beauty, and then we say he's renounced. So in our little tiny brains, how can the Lord be renounced? It's all beautiful, and it's all wealth, and it's all the wealth, he has everything, but it also has a potency of renunciation. He can be detached from them at the same time. He can be detached. They do not rule him. He can use his energies in any kind of way he likes. He has complete control. He is above the law. If he likes, he can go according to law if he's teaching us. But otherwise, he can do whatever he likes. But now, the feature of renunciation, Srila Prabhupada describes as when he does something menial. Now, remember, he is the supreme king of kings, the supreme personality. So when he does things that are menial, that is the use of his potency of renunciation. For example, when he made the decision to drive the chariot for Arjuna. Even if you've seen these movies, Mahabharata, apart from Arjuna's chariot, the Krishna was driving. The rest of the chariot, if you look at the persons that were playing the roles of the different Kauravas and so on, you will see that a very simple kind of person was the one that was driving or controlling the horses. So chariot driver is actually a menial task. Krishna takes that just for the love of his devotees. When there was the Rajasuya sacrifice by Maharaj Yudhishthira, different assignments were given to the Pandavas to welcome people and so on. And Sri Krishna decided that he would take over the responsibility of washing everybody that was coming, the feet, with water. That's also a feature of renunciation. It's a menial position. So the Lord, as he likes, he would do jobs that are very simple. For us, we practice what? We practice how to be humble by also doing menial service for the spiritual master. Menial service for spiritual master is a very, very, very important thing to do because it teaches us humility. When you come to ISKCON, there's a very popular assignment that usually people get. Wash the pots in the kitchen. I remember my spiritual master, Bhaktira Maharaj, made a comment when he came to ISKCON. I forget where he came, but he was in a suit. Princeton graduate.
It was in New York.
Okay, New York.
Yeah.
Princeton graduate. And the devotees asked him, he wanted to assist. He said, sure, go to the kitchen and wash the pots. And he said, what? I'm wearing a suit and everything. Go to the kitchen and wash pots. We've had the experience of washing pots. I did it. And some of my devotee God family members also washed pots. Actually, it's very purifying. It's very, 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 very purifying. When you take this and, now we have this big shower kind of thing, and just mix the water, the cold water and the warm water. And these pots are big time stainless steel type pots, and they're not light. They're not light. You wash them and in the big bowls, and then later on you wash the big woks that are used. Everything is being, big, and the woks usually have quite a bit of oil, and you have to do that. And usually the big pots, it's not a matter of just putting a soap in there and that. Now, most of the time, if they used it to cook rice, that bottom of that pot is burnt. So you're dealing with burnt rice in a large pot that's heavy, in a deep sink. And you'll have to be determined to do a good job at it. So when you finish and you clean it all, and then you set it over to the drain, and then to dry, and later on you put it back in place. This is a service we're doing in the Adi-Lila kitchen in Girinagri that I'm describing. Now, everybody that came at some point was asked to do that. If you had the strength to go and wash pots. And everyone that did it, some people may have just, depending on people's temperament or the way they look at things. Some people had some grudge. But one thing that came out, everybody that's done it before, now, if you look back on it, they'll tell you that we actually learned quite a bit from doing that menial service. From doing that menial service. And then the other menial service is cut vegetables. And especially when there's a whole program that's coming, and a lot of people are visiting, and that's when a lot of bogas, and then of course the cooks can't do it all. So we have people coming in, and you have 5, 6, 7 people cutting different types of vegetables. And in the meantime, there's, in order to have people's minds set on, there will either be bhajans playing, or most of the time there will be a lecture by Srila Prabhupada playing, so people are listening, and at the same time cutting. Very, very, very good service. So menial service, we're making a case for menial service. Never turn your heart away from menial service. You will get a lot as a devotee later on. You will grow. Devotion will grow on you the more menial service you do. It will literally grow on you. Grow on you means you get to like, as an American way of saying, you get to like service in general. And then Krishna will open your heart. Then your chanting becomes better. Like that. So that's something not to turn away from at all. So the Super Soul, Krishna, Prabhupada quotes, Bhoktaram Yagyata Pasad Savaloka Maheshwaram. So that's Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, text 29. Bhoktaram Yagyata Pasad Savaloka Maheshwaram Sridam Savabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantin Richiti. Krishna says, a person in full consciousness, me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and the well-wisher of living entities. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing I am the beneficiary, everything that's done should be given to Krishna. And there's another text that says, because give it to me, because this is how we become happy when he gives back. The supreme Lord of all planets and the supreme Lord of the demigods too, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. A person who understands that attains peace from the pangs of material miseries, attains peace. If you put Krishna first, then peace comes. If you serve Krishna menially, to serve a spiritual master, and you serve the devotees from your heart, you will be happier and happier and happier. Srila Prabhupada, the last point I want to leave you is from the next door devotion. And Srila Prabhupada made the case that if this world, people who are working in this world, worked according to the instructions that's in Bhagavad Gita, did their own occupation, devotees obviously stick to the instructions, and non-devotees work their jobs, but understand that they have to give what they get from the fruit, the results from that, give to the Lord. If everybody did that, this world would be peaceful, this world, people will be happy. A lot of things that we see as disturbances in the weather and so on, that will all go away. And in fact, even in this material world on this planet, people were very happy. And he also mentioned that as long as there's cow killing, cow and the bull are killed, the wars will never stop. Killing an animal is as bad as killing a human being. And as long as a cow is being killed, slaughterhouses are on, there will be wars in this place. There will never be peace. So Lord Caitanya has come to show us how to live. All glories to him. Lord Nityananda, the servant of Lord Caitanya, he likes to be called servant of Lord Caitanya, even though it's a plenary expansion. Balaram, they are all appealing to us. Please chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if we do that, then we are in the right side, the correct side of both the spiritual master and Krishna as Lord Caitanya. Then we have opportunity, a real opportunity to go back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll stop here.
Thank you so much for a wonderful class, and actually really glorifying Lord Chaitanya was really sweet. And all those nice pastimes of Lord Chaitanya cooking for Ishvara Puri, that was a very sweet pastime too. Thank you for sharing that. If there are any questions, If there are any questions from devotees, any clarification, any takeaways or comments, please do raise your hand. If you can jump right in and ask a question. I know we're almost close to the hour, but I do have a question. The second last paragraph that is shown up on the screen, can you shed some light or elaborate further?
The second last paragraph, as the personality of Godhead is a complete form of Satchidananda?
Yes, that whole paragraph,
Okay.
because the personality of God is a complete form of Satchidananda, full life, knowledge, and bliss.
Yeah.
And then Prabhupada says,
realization of the Sat portion of the complete whole, unlimited existence, one realizes the impersonal Brahman aspect of the Lord. And by realization of the Chit portion, the unlimited knowledge, one can realize a localized aspect of the complete of whole. Now, so these two are broken down, the Sat and the Chit. Sat is eternality. And the key to this is the last sentence. Neither of these partial realizations of the complete whole can help one realize Ananda, or complete bliss. Without such realization, knowledge of the absolute truth is incomplete. Well, why Ananda? Why is there the need to have Ananda? Because one, we already described, it's already been described here, Sat and Chit. And as far as they go, yogis, they want to have more knowledge. The knowledge makes them go through what? The type of just trying to get the Lord in a heart by going through meditations and so on. Now, the Lord Krishna, we relate to him through his pastimes. And his pastimes are the ones that are connected with bliss. The eternal happiness comes from relating to Krishna. So then if the eternal, the happiness, the wonderful happiness that we can get from relating to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just think, if that's not there, the Buddha is not relating in that way, then what we got? We've got the effulgent rays and the fact that he is in our heart as a Paramatma, directing our lives, including the lives of non-devotees too. Is that much? As far as our relating to God, it doesn't go that far.
Okay.
Yeah. So devotees have to have connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead through actual relation that brings out the love. Love is connected with bliss. And that's where it is. So that's why we need that connection there. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you for really, really explaining that and shedding some light. I'm very appreciative of that. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and that was kind of my understanding, but that's why I wanted you to add more. So that was nice. Thank you so much. Really, really, really helped. Because I like the last line of that paragraph where Sri Prabhupada says that without such realization of Ananda, knowledge of the absolute truth
is incomplete. Yeah.
Is incomplete. Yeah, which is, so even without Ananda, which is the bliss, which is the complete bliss, it's very hard to understand the Sat and the Chit, right? That's what your Prabhupada is saying is very incomplete.
Sat and Chit, Sat is a property of the Lord, eternality. The Lord lives forever. Okay, we also live forever as souls. Chit, knowledge, unlimited knowledge. That's also there. Ananda. Well, activity is connected with Ananda. Actual activity, pastimes is connected with Ananda. So that has to be there. The Lord lives based on Ananda. The gopis' relationship with him, the closest, the highest relationship is given the conjugal relationship, which is the relationship between Krishna and the gopis. It's all Ananda. The whole thing is Ananda. So devotees have Sat, Chit, and Ananda understanding and relation. Whereas the yogis go with the Paramatma feature because they go through meditations to try to realize the Lord in the heart. And Mayavadis want to merge into the effulgent race. There's no Ananda. There is no Ananda. There is no bliss. There's no higher happiness. It's when we relate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a personal level, then the happiness comes. Another way of saying the same thing. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. That was really, really nice. Thank you.
Hare
I know we
Krishna.
passed the hour. Just wanted to make sure that we don't ignore anyone's questions, comments, or takeaways or reflections, or any clarification. And if you do not have anything, if there's no questions, just a quick reminder that tonight, 6 o'clock, is our Bhagavad Gita circle that we are continuing on chapter 2. 6 o'clock is when it starts. So please do log in 5 minutes before 6. And tomorrow morning's Bhagavatam class is by His Holiness Chandramali Swami at 7 o'clock. So please do make note of these two, which is this evening Bhagavad Gita circle, 6 o'clock, and tomorrow morning's Bhagavatam class by His Holiness Chandramali Swami at 7 a.m. Until then, have a wonderful day. Vantrakapribhyascha, Kripasindhabheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna, Devi.
Hare Krishna.
Have a
Hare
wonderful
Krishna,
day.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Bless
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada. Jai.